Hello everybody, and help, I'm trying to transform my bookshelf into a game wall, and I don't know where to put my crappy Sega Genesis Mini knockoff by At Games. I'll slap it on top of my 3DS case. Bam! Perfect! That's not metaphorical enough. I need to put the Nintendo one on top. Yes, perfect. That's good. The losers that tried to combat Nintendo back in the 90s, or as they were formerly known, First Party Sega, were huge in the 90s. So, what exactly caused them to fade into obscurity? Was it their lack of original games? Was it their popularity? Well, we're gonna dive into the rise, fall, and decay of First Party Sega. Following a downturn in the arcade game industry in 1982, Gulf and Western sold the rights of all their arcade games to Bally Manufacturing Corporation. What did they do with all these arcade games? I don't know, they made slot machines or something.
In Las Vegas to interview Mike.
And later, Sega decided to make a computer called the SC3000. But after learning that Nintendo was making the Famicom, Sega decided to capitalize on the home console market too, with the SG1000 that went along with the SC3000. It was a hot mess. Shortly after the launch of the SG1000, they started work on Mark III, as they later renamed it the Sega Master System. It was a huge success. In Europe, that is. It wasn't that big here. It might have been because of the lack of good games, or just because their mascot, Alex Kidd, wasn't that good. But in 1988, they did the Sega Genesis, or Mega Drive in Japan. It was a huge, big deal. The only problem with it is that it was overshadowed by the release of Super Mario Bros. 3 that was just a week apart from it. So they needed a mascot. But of course, they famously made Shrek. Later they released the Sega Game Gear, which, this thing was a colossal flop. It was in color, which was better than the Game Boy, but it had a short battery life and had the embarrassing launch title of a built-in version of Columns. But then people started wondering about Sega's next home console and what it would be. And then everybody got disappointed when they realized it was just a Sega CD. There were some solid titles, but then there was stuff like this.
It was young ones too, you know.
This is a video game.
You are a
This is a movie.
Special boy. We both know.
Word started to spread around about Sega's new console that would be combating the likes of the Sony PlayStation and the Nintendo 64. People started to call it Project Saturn. But then somewhere along the line they said, hey, you know what would be funny? So they made the Sega Saturn. Okay, I don't want to sound like a pessimistic jerk, so I'll try to explain myself. First of all, you released the console way too early. It was a day before it came out when this was announced. And I think that was the main problem with the Sega Saturn. They just gave nobody any time to sell it. That's why there was no sales for it, pretty much. Later, Sega released the 32X, but by then it was just too late to create any more Genesis add-ons. But then guess what? They actually released the Sega Dreamcast. And this thing was a great console. I think one of the biggest highlights of the Dreamcast's launch was Sonic Adventure. Not that that is a good game by any means, but it helped pioneer what the Dreamcast's success was. They finally made a 3D Sonic game. Fans had been clamoring for this for years, and they finally did it. A generation later. But then Sega finally went third party. So there you have it, folks, from the beginning to the end. The rise, fall, and decay of first party Sega. Hey guys, thanks for watching this video if you even made it to the end. I just like to thank all my subscribers, my three. This channel is really getting on its foot. This has been my biggest project yet, so let's just hope that I have enough space on my computer. Well,